right? They may not take as much time off now for the rest of the month, but in January maybe take a bit more.
I am actually taking off. So I'm here next week, and hmm, I will take 2 weeks, like the last 2 weeks in December. So that's why we kind of wanted to at least have the discussion about the maintainers in the Monday meeting. You attended the Monday meeting, or
I
you
did
did
not.
not?
No.
Actually,
Yeah.
did not. Yeah, I remember. So we had a maintainers kind of discussion on Monday's meeting because we need to kind of have regular maintainers updates, like just to keep them like really with the people who are involved in the project. So that was the discussion on Monday that we had. So we expect kind of in January to have at least some more organizational maintainers. One of the things that we were struggling is really driving some governance work around Notary project, but that will be cleaned up in the next month and a half. And uh, else, like, uh, I do you have anything kind of specific, or I was looking at the in toto stuff, and that is one of the things that we've been discussing how we can collaborate with you guys in the in toto in order to provide like when you have some in toto attestations to also have more convenient way to sign it with let's say the notation tool and get a notary project signature on those attestations. So that is one of the items that I am investigating right now and trying to at least get some idea how we can do it. And this is on my plate as a personal interest that I want to drive forward. Mhm.
Yeah, I think that'll be really interesting. Do you have any like issues tracking the idea or anything? Or is it mostly
Not
just
not yet because I started kind of looking. I looked at in total a while back. Now that we kind of have a stable release of the tooling that we can use for signing, right, and we are gathering feedback from users, we really actually want to look at more industry-wide initiatives that we can work with. But I don't think we have an issue. So if you want to file one, please feel free because like I don't want to be the only one filing issues for all these things, right? I know that like I'm working on it, and as I said, I'll be happy. Actually, I was looking at from the last in total meeting. We talk about in the Slack chat after that about the steps where at least we are seeing we need attestations. And right now I'm looking at whether the Sky one will help for actually take, for example, after I acquire image from Docker Hub and put it in my registry, I want to put an attestation where that image came from, what date, something like a provenance type of attestation. I looked at the source of provenance in the past, right? And it doesn't have the fields. And I think we talked with you that actually we can go and request those fields, but now I'm exploring more. I really like the talk that Marcela, sorry, I'm trying to
yeah.
learn the names still, that she did at KubeCon, and I'm looking at her code and trying to. I actually did a similar talk on the Azure booth at KubeCon, so I'm trying to take what she has and see how this can be applied to my steps and see what I can produce there. So in the downtime this month I want to see whether I can prototype that thing and just get to this scenario, and then I'll have maybe a small paper saying, okay, at this step we would like to produce this attestation and sign it with notation, how we can make that easy to do, right? Because right now I need to use, let's say, auras to push the attestation, then go back and sign it with notation. Can we have some convenience commands in notation to say, okay, here is the file, just like sign it and or push it first and after that sign it. So we need to figure out how to do it. We also are, I don't know whether you know, but we are thinking of how we can sign local artifacts that are not pushed to the registry first, which means that eventually we can even sign everything in, let's say, in a build agent or in the step where that is happening before it goes to the registry. Because theoretically, you can say the registry may be exploited, right? So if I push it and after that I sign it, right, somebody can serve me with content that I don't want to sign.
Yeah, no, I like that idea, and it's something that I know the other thing, Brandon Mitchell from the OSL, like his talk that he's given a few times, really pushing the idea of kind of all the organizational requirements you have. You should try and meet those in your CI/CD pipeline on disk before you push an image to the registry, because
Yeah, yeah,
the counter side of that is like you also don't know what's in the image. And a lot of times as soon as it's there in the registry, other people can start pulling it.
yeah, yeah. We like use the OCI layout, local OCI layout on the disk. So we have a prototype of local signing actually. As I believe it's experimental feature right now that you can use it. I think I had something at least as a code. If you are interested, I can share that. I did a couple of talks and I have the exact commands that you need to go through. I think I
Okay.
had I believe demo, but yeah, it uses like build X, then you save it as a like OCI layout tar locally, then you expand it, then you sign it. It's not convenient, right? It's not
Yeah.
convenient, but also Docker build is not making it convenient for us, right? Because I cannot ideally we would like to integrate with, let's say, Docker build, and the way the image is uh, saved locally on the machine to have access to say, okay, I just tell notation, use that image from the local registry or that artifact from the local registry, but the Docker doesn't support that currently. And that is also one conversation that we were having with Docker at KubeCon, how we can make those things happen.
Yeah, so my side project over the next few weeks as well is to try and see if I can get Go Witness into BuildKit.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I like about that idea is any signing plugin you integrate with Go Witness, you could then use to sign the salsa provenance or the SBOMs generated by BuildKit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would help like move past the conversation about what we should be using to sign for things, and just give the consumers a choice of, some people will want to use notation, some people will want to use Sigstore, some people
Mm-hmm.
may want to use something else that's still being developed in the future. Um, I
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
I mean, there's so many people who use BuildKit that are, uh, you know, I don't know if impartial, they're unopinionated at the same time. They just have so many different requirements that I think
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
that could offer some interesting flexibility potentially.
Mm-hmm. And this will be good because you have kind of one tool that can do that all these things, right? You
Yeah.
don't need to go and now I need this thing from notation, this thing from for pushing, this other thing for cosine, and everybody agrees that like you cannot have one thing that rules them all in the industry. Everybody tries, nobody actually succeeds in that one.
My dog. There's too many packages coming this time of year.
Oh yeah, yeah. Christmas time.
So maybe like one of the things that I need to look into a bit more is what a notary notation signature actually is. In terms
Mhm.
of like cryptographically what is being done and the differences maybe between like is it most like the alternatives, is it mostly like a difference in signing envelopes or a way of using keys or
There is difference in the signing envelopes. So like Sigstore uses DZ, notation can use both either JWS or COSI. Um, AWS folks, they prefer right now the JWS one. We are on our side on Microsoft are converging on COSI. Uh, there is uh, we can add DZ in the future if there is that desire. So from envelope point of view, I honestly do not know on the signature point whether there are any specifics, but there is a signature specification. So if you go to, let me just open my browser. And the specification itself can, uh, I don't know why Firefox does not show me the content of GitHub folders for whatever reason. Here is a link for you where you can look at and specifically the signature specification and the signing scheme, maybe the things that you want to look at in that folder.
okay.
The one thing that we are missing and is on the backlog right now is the timestamp authority support. That is missing at the moment, and I'm actually asking the community to prioritize that work as fast as possible so we can have also TSAs supported. Sorry.
Is what's the kind of the need for TSAs with notation?
So we have customers that actually, so when you, let's say, rotate the certificate, right? And right now, if the certificate is expired, you cannot validate the signature because the certificate is expired. So with TSA, eventually you can validate it because at the time of the signing, that certificate was um, valid, right? That's of course, in the future, like everybody wants to move to kind of short-lived certificates, which
Yeah.
is kind of the Sigstore approach. AWS has that implemented right now with their notation plugin for AWS Signer, so they don't need the TSA. However, there are a lot of users that still say, look, I don't have this or ephemeral key infrastructure that can be supported. So I still need to be able to sign that. And we had some of those coming back and saying, well, now we started kind of rotating the keys, like renewing the certificates. And because the old ones are expired, what is like the process to, let's say, validate images that have expired certificates? So that's the where we are looking to add the TSA stuff.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I know we had implemented some support for Spiffy Inspire workload identity type things where that, kind of leveraging the X509 infrastructure, but getting closer to the short-lived. It's as short-lived as the SFIT is, and but that requires the deployment of SwiftUSpire, which is a lot
Hmm.
for some people. But um,
Hmm.
oftentimes in different cloud environments, there's some sort of workload identity mechanism that could be supported as well too. So
Hmm.
um, I think that's another interesting. Yeah, I agree that the movement towards the as short-lived as possible for the certificates is, I think it's a good direction to go, but it's
Yeah. Hmm.
complicated to implement for some folks.
Yeah, and when you think like more bigger enterprise customers right now, they already have some traditional like X509 infrastructure. They want to leverage that as much as possible and have this transition later. Uh, I have a talk with the AWS folks about their adoption of the short-lived certificates. At least some of the customers that I talk, they said, "Yeah, we like the idea, but we are a big enterprise. It will take us a couple of years to get there." For now, what we can do with the current one, and that's where we are trying to really make this transition as smooth as possible for them. So, at least, but because they will get at least the muscle of signing these things. Right now, like most of them, that we are not signing this. So that's not the priority for us. Which from one side is good because we can have time to really make it easier for them when they start signing. But from the other side is like we don't have enough feedback that we are getting back on those things.
Yeah, it's a chicken and egg
Yeah, yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah,
Um, cool. Well, I'll take a look through some of the specification and stuff, and I think that yeah, like that's I think there's a little bit in here that I peeked at already of just it all comes back to the signature envelope, right? Of
hmm
what are the things you're putting in there and ordering, and then usually you calculate a hash of that, and then that's what gets signed is the hash of that.
If so, I remember there were some questions about that, and I do not remember whether we completely documented those. There were some issues somebody opened. If there are any questions, file issues for the spec itself and say this is not clear, right? And can you make it clearer or whatever question you have, just file an issue, and I'll be happy to follow up on that. We would like to make sure that the spec is understandable. There was, as I said, somebody who asked more specific questions that were not covered. That was a couple of months ago, and I do not recollect right now whether we updated it. But anything that you see and it's not clear and you need more details or just file an issue. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I didn't have anything else for today, but this was a good
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Nice seeing you again. So I may see you next Thursday if you join, and then I'll be gone for 2 weeks. So
That
um,
sounds good.
yeah, if I don't see you, have a nice holidays.
Thanks, you too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.